Hey, Damon, happy Monday, dude. How are you, man?
I'm doing great, Kurt. I'm ready to talk about Adobe Commerce today.
Oh my goodness, dude. Did you get some sleep over the weekend? Because like you need it. You needed a lot. Did you get some rest? Did you
I
gear
went
up?
to bed extra early last
Yeah,
night.
I was in bed at like 6 last night. So all right, we're
Yeah.
gonna dive in. I've been waiting for this for months. This is just such an honor, such a privilege. Happy Monday, everybody. We are here with just an e-commerce extraordinaire, Jenifer Hanki. Jenifer, happy Monday. How are you today?
Happy, incredible Monday. I am feeling wonderful. Oh my gosh, I got my cup of coffee. I took a cold shower. I feel like I'm living the billionaire lifestyle. And so here we are. Yeah, let's accelerate into the week, first week of March.
Well,
Oh,
let's do it.
yeah.
Let's dive right in. So, guys, drop us a note. Let us know that you're out there. You definitely want to connect with Jenifer here on LinkedIn. She's with Adobe. We are going to we're going to dive in and cover some really juicy topics. But Jenifer, before we go there, I have a lot of e-commerce questions that we're going to geek out hard today. But I do have a question for you. Are you ready? Are you, and I don't think you're sitting down. So are you ready for that? Are you hanging on? Are you ready?
Oh my gosh, I gotta bolt myself down then. I'm
All right, Jenifer, when you were a little girl growing up, who was your hero? When you were a little girl growing up, who was your hero?
Oh my gosh. That is a fantastic question. My hero. Well, I feel like I'm a very indecisive person when it comes to answers. So I'll tell you this. I would say my hero when I was younger, um, the traditional answer would be my uncle. He
Nice.
is a neurosurgeon, heart surgeon turned pediatric generalist, and operates a wonderful clinic in the heart of Tokyo. And he just has this incredible aura about the way he carries himself, and is just so genuinely caring and loving, and just the way he incorporates his philosophy of care into his general practice. It's just truly inspiring. The flip side of the same question, which is like if you could have dinner with anyone or like your
Yeah.
hero,
Yep.
who would it be? I think I think I would love to have dinner with Anakin Skywalker just to understand.
Yes.
I
For
feel like
decades.
I'm just saying, and I feel like it's because I just want to get a little bit into the psychology of,
Yeah.
the becoming of the Darth Vader. And
Yeah.
I'll just stop there before we get into more
Oh,
questions because I think it may lead to more questions than
Oh, yeah.
answers.
We go down that road for a
you
while.
you definitely you don't have
We
to stop.
could.
So, well, all right. Well, we can't let that one go, Jenifer. Let's tie in a couple questions there. So, first off, your uncle's first name, please.
His name is Katsuo. Katsu, what
Katsuo.
we call him Katsu.
Yeah.
Katsu. Yeah.
Excellent. And what a great story. I'm like the
Yeah.
passion and just your expression that was just so wonderful sharing about your uncle, loving, caring,
Yeah.
compassionate, just sounds like what a role model, what an incredible inspiration. And then Luke Skywalker, was that Luke Skywalker? Is that with
The his father.
his father?
Mhm.
His father. Got it. Okay. You know what? We can't
I
let
mean,
that one
either.
we can't let that one go. Let's take it one step further. What would you love to know? Let's dig a little deeper into that.
I would love to. Hmm. I think I think there's like this element. Uh, hmm. Just the motivation. It's kind of like the Malcolm Gladwell concept of like the
Yeah.
tipping point. Like, what
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
it? What did it for you?
Yeah. Yeah. What was
What got you to that point?
right?
And I think I'd love to ask that same question to like maybe like Elon Musk or whatever controversial figures of history throughout our past
Mhm.
and present. And I think this fictional character, it'd just be so interesting to see like yeah his why, his starting point, and if he can identify like what was the true trigger of his becoming.
Yeah.
All right, man. Damon, that Jenifer, that might be our next episode with you. Is we're going to do a deep
Yeah.
dive on
Yeah.
just the tipping point on
'Cause-
controversial historical,
Yeah.
game changers. Right? What a great
Wow.
I'm a history buff. Damon is too. So what a great topic.
And
that would be.
especially with Anakin, because Anakin did some nasty stuff. I mean, he
No
did.
spoilers, no spoilers. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah,
I was
and
like, oh
somebody
my
somebody
goodness.
does say, "Hey, spoiler alert here." So hey,
Yeah.
hey, happy Monday to you guys.
Whew,
Drop
hitting
us a
something
note.
that deep this early.
Let us know where you're coming from. Man, Damon, you doing okay? Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm all right. All right.
Man, as a matter of fact, we could just run with that. When you think about, think of
Oof.
historical figures, whether Martin Luther King, Gandhi, Rosa Parks, just think of like some of the people that really had that tipping point, or on the flip side, folks that did not contribute positive things to society on that tip. Jenifer, you got us thinking, man.
Yeah.
You really got us thinking there.
What can we say?
Good
March Madness.
March
Monday.
Madness is here. Okay. Speaking of March Madness, Damon, are you, I don't know, you a basketball fan? You a basketball fan at all? March Madness is kind of.
I watch at least the last minute of the championship game.
That a boy. All right. So, all right. Jenifer, I hope you don't mind. I have to go here. Okay. One of the greatest basketball teams of all time, Damon, in college basketball. When you think college basketball, greatest basketball team historically of all time, do you have who's the first team that comes to mind?
Women or men?
Men.
Oh, it's the Duke.
Well, Duke, maybe for our
Coach
generation, but in a previous generation, it might have been John Wooden, maybe UCLA Bruins.
There we go.
Jenifer, I don't know if you're a big sports fan, but do you have a connection somewhere somehow to the UCLA Bruins? I don't know. Do you have any combination there?
It's funny that you say that, and I actually, if everyone on this, I'm not going to try to spam my mother, but if everyone types in their email inbox and sends an email to Bruins for basketball at hotmail.com, that's my mom's personal email. And for I don't know why, but Bruins basketball at gmail.com, Bruins for basketball at AOL.com, that'll all link to my mother. Just FYI. Yeah, my parents both played basketball growing up, and that's what they connected over. They did not actually attend UCLA, but I think their deep admiration for John Wooden and basketball. I grew up watching UCLA and was a huge Bruins fan, and I know my manager
Nice.
and my director also love UCLA. So anyways, Bruins
Very
for
cool.
basketball at hotmail.com. Feel free to send my mother a cute little message that you saw my webinar.
Absolutely. So Jenifer just shared that with me recently, and so she mentioned Timothy was on the show back in September, and he bleeds light blue, man. So he's just a bleeding Bruins fan through and through. And so we talked about that when he was on the show, and I was teasing him about that. And then Jenifer comes on, and we were geeking out about sports. And I'm, Jenifer, man, I'm sorry that we're geeking out about sports. And she goes, oh, well, by the way, you're not really off track because my mom's email is this. And so that was absolutely all right. So we're going to give a shout out. We're going to give, what's
Awesome.
Mom's first name? Jenifer, what's your
Mimi.
mom's? Mimi. All right. So we're gonna drop Mimi a note and just give her a big hello and talk to her about how great you've been. So all right, let's dive here. Wonderful career that you've been building, and you are just I've seen you speak in person. You are a powerhouse speaker, just an e-commerce extraordinaire. What led you to build your path, your career? What brought you into e-commerce? What attracted you to e-commerce?
That's a great question, Kurt. You do this for a living, so I can't imagine that you would ask bad questions. But it starts from a young age, actually. In my middle school days, actually, my uncle and my aunt actually inspired me. This takes me back many years ago.
Yep.
But every year I would go spend my summers in Japan, and my family, they're very spiritual, and they are very deeply connected to kind of the spiritual power of gemstones and beads. And every summer I would spend in Japan, my uncle and my aunt would buy me these like beautiful beads from these semi-precious gemstone bead shops. It's going to connect to technology and
Yeah,
e-commerce, I promise,
that's fine.
in a few moments. But every summer, they would buy me these like expensive beads and really really beautiful like semi-precious stones, and they loved jewelry and being able to like wear these beads. So every summer they would kind of buy me these beads, and I loved making jewelry, so I would make them kind of different bracelets and trinkets, and by the end of the summer, and that became like a ritual. Every summer I would go, they would buy me these like lovely supplies, and I would have like a whole arsenal, a whole inventory of jewelry. And this is like the beginning of Facebook that started. And I remember my aunts, my uncles, my family, they started wearing all my jewelry, and they got compliments from their mothers, our church friends, and people started asking like, where did you get this? And they were like, oh yeah, like my niece, my daughter, my granddaughter is actually making these. And so I got inquiries to like post these pieces on Facebook at like the beginning of Facebook Marketplace. So this is me when I'm like 11, 12 years old, and I started selling jewelry on Facebook, through like my timeline, if that's still I don't think it's still a thing anymore.
Yeah.
But people would find it and would ask to purchase jewelry from me. When I was like 12, 13 years old, that ended up
Wow.
expanding into like uh, long story, ended up expanding into this kind of side project when I was in middle and high school, and started making like customized jewelry, just through like friends and family, and then would continually sell to like different doctors. I don't
Yeah.
know. They would like want to buy things in bulk. Um, Later, okay, I had a passion for e-commerce, and worked at a retail e-commerce tech startup in Silicon Valley about 6 years ago, and that ended up really fueling my love, the energy for the creative tech space, and just working with different SKUs and a lot and assortments, and working actually with a few jewelry companies then. So fast forward, it's now a few years after. It's COVID time, and I'm stuck at home in my parents' home in my childhood bedroom, and I still have like maybe thousands of dollars worth of like beautiful gemstone beads and jewelry in my room. And I had a bit of time because it's COVID, so I was like, okay, well, this is just gonna sit and collect dust. I started making jewelry, for the fun of it, and I had a mentor at this time, and she was telling me, "Oh, like, it sounds like you have this passion for jewelry. Like, you should just." And she was actually building out her own hair care, e-commerce brand at this time, and she told me, "You should just do it. Just like create a store. I want you to by the end of the summer, like start listing all your jewelry." And I just, put up a little shop. Like, it was a summer project. I made a bunch of jewelry. I like put it online. Didn't like expect anything from it. Like put like a few Pinterest posts on it, and lo and behold, I made like a couple TikTok videos, and fast forward like 3 months from there, I'm in my parents' basement. I have hired like my mom's church friends, and we have like 300 orders of jewelry to like package and start like manufacturing in bulk. And I started learning like the power of e-commerce, the power of like demand generation, and how, really the next generation of commerce is today. And I felt like I want to be in the space where, I can creatively feel like I am connected to the retailer, the merchant, because I've had this experience, and being able to really catalyze, each of these brands into the world of, being able to 10x their current demand. I think that was something that was really exciting to me. And working on the other side, helping other brands be feel empowered. That was kind of like my mantra, my hope, and I'm just really really grateful for the opportunity, to be on this side of working with other brands, and how other brands can crawl, walk, run, fly with Adobe Commerce.
That's awesome.
Wow. Okay. Bam. That was a big drop the mic right there. We've got a few things to unpack right there, Jennifer.
Yeah.
So, okay, first off, you got e-commerce at 11, 12 years old.
Yeah.
That is, Damon, and we just had a guest on Friday, exact same thing. And as a matter of fact, they're a high level Adobe agency. Jenifer, you'll love these guys. And he was talking about how he was as a young
Yep.
teenager getting e-commerce. So the great thing is, for millennials and yeah, for millennials, you could get into e-commerce at such a young age. Jenifer, so now let's unpack this. You're in your mom's basement shipping hundreds of orders out, and this was during COVID. Is that what you said?
This is peak 2020 to 2022.
Shit. Okay, so walk us through that. So you've got church friends, you got people just pickpacking, shipping. What was going on?
Yeah, I mean, it was just. I mean, I also I don't want to frame it in a way where I was like making bank and rolling in dough
Yeah,
every
yeah,
day. It
yeah,
was
yeah,
just like the virality of
Yeah,
certain
yeah.
TikTok videos
yeah.
just happened to generate like dozens of orders at a given time. Um, but yeah, it was crazy. I just let it sit for maybe
That's
like a month, and I saw some like additional income in my Chase bank account, and I was like, "What? Like, how? Where is that coming from?" And I like investigate, and I'm like, "Oh my God, it's from my e-commerce store, and I haven't even fulfilled the order." And then I was like, "Oh, it's a fluke. It's a fluke." The second order, maybe like 2 weeks later, someone else like I see additional income. Someone else orders it, and I actually reached out to that girl. She was like 14 years old, and I asked her like, "How did you even find me?" And she's like, "Oh, I found you on Pinterest, but you got to get on TikTok because that's where all the youths are selling stuff." And I was like, "Oh no, I don't want to do that." But yeah, like it turned into like the first video, like maybe the 10th or 12th video got like 900,000 to 1 million views, and then a few more got
Gee.
like 2, 3, 4, 10 million views.
Oh
So
wow.
it was a whole moment for the little little e-commerce like store using like
That's
the same
Awesome.
beads, actually the same beads from when I was 12 were being used, and it's like really high quality stuff. So I was like,
yeah.
and I think that's what really resonated with the audience, that it was all handmade, it was made to order. You got to see it, like the TikTok kind of featured like the beads getting, or the jewelry being made in real time. And so that was just like, um, that was the backstory of e-commerce, my e-commerce experience and passion. And yeah, I mean, I would say it's funny because at the time I was also starting at Adobe in a different role. But while I was onboarding, I was also like working, like I
Yeah.
had the 9 to 5, but also the 5 to,
5 to 9. Yeah, you had your
Yeah.
yeah,
side.
exactly.
So your side hustle is completely blowing up. Did you say you got 10 million views on a TikTok?
Yes,
Is that
she
what you said?
did.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I am rounding up. It was like 9 point something, but
That you're
yeah.
right. What was all right? So what was the video?
I haven't got 9 views on TikTok.
Yeah, what was the do you like? What do you think? And I apologize because I know like we want to dive into Adobe, but you've just
Right.
really piqued our curiosity. What was on the video when you got the mil? I think you said one video got up to 1 million views, then another one got 10. What was the video?
Yeah, the video was me just packaging the product, and
Just packaging.
um just packaging. But I think it's, I think a lot of it has to do with the question about who would I like to have, like, not dinner with, but
Yeah,
who is my hero.
yeah.
And just like care, compassion, love is something that I really try to strive to live by. And in the same way that my uncle lives by those principles, I try to apply that to my jewelry brand. So in the packaging, it's not just about like the actual product, but the video in length is about 30 to 40 seconds to a minute, because there's just so much intricacy and diligence that goes into packaging each product. So it's like, there's the card that's handwritten, and then there's like multiple free items like packages of tea and whatever, and the hair like additional free items, and the way it's like wrapped and individually packaged with and then wrapped with like a foil and then like tied with a bow. So I think it's that extra level of care, compassion, and love that I want every person to experience. That I think people really admired, and that just went viral.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's about it, in anything. And I think someone said here, MD talked about, listen to understand your customers. You were trying to show the heart of what you do and really listen, let them get to know you, and listening to them, and the care and that you were taking, and it just connected with people. That's
Yeah, and I
awesome.
think the comment about really listening and understanding your customer, it's so crazy to think that because actually the e-commerce startup that I worked at prior to my time at Adobe, they actually that startup worked on understanding consumer feedback and understanding customer affinity and propensity to buy so that it could effectively project sales numbers for a given assortment of
Hmm.
of that upcoming design drop. So let's say we're designing like the spring 2025, they would send out like thousands and thousands of uh, consumer feedback surveys so that the designer would be able to understand how that would incorporate how the feedback would be incorporated into the next like Nike design and would
Yeah.
drop the lowest performing products. And in the same way, like the way that I would incorporate like feedback, like just directly messaging that second girl who purchased my jewelry, and she told me like where I need to be like at that moment. Like I don't think I would have gotten to that level of success had I not just directly gone to the source. And so I think that, goes back to the original point of just really listening to your customer, knowing what they want, because oftentimes we like to assume what the customer would like, but yes, ultimately the customer is knows best.
Isn't that fascinating?
Yeah.
A 14-year-old makes a suggestion, you need to be on TikTok, and you blow up and go. I mean, how many people put out videos daily or on a, and never, like, I'll get 3 views, and I think 2 of them are my mom and maybe my
Yeah.
sister, you know what I mean? And like here, like you completely blow it up on a suggestion. So, all right, I want to dig into Adobe, Jenifer. Is there anything else you like, if you're comfortable with me asking, are you still doing the jewelry business? Is that still an ongoing entity, or what does that look like?
It is still ongoing. It's a very small operation given that, I've kind of accelerated into a different path, and
Yeah,
I
yeah,
do love e-commerce.
yeah,
And so just being on this side and being able to incorporate that into my day-to-day at Adobe has just been an honor and a privilege. So I would say the jewelry operation is a lot smaller, but it's still ongoing, and
right,
it's, it's so hard to explain like the way algorithms work
yeah,
because like there'll be sometimes just like random trends. Like maybe a month ago there was like an aquamarine trend going on, and so all of a sudden like in 2 days I sold out of like all
right,
my
right,
aquamarine inventory.
right.
And like maybe like different engines will push out like some products more than others. So I'm not, I wish I had more insight into how
Yeah,
you can
sure,
capitalize,
sure. Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's still ongoing and I'm still learning.
Well, all right. Hey, and Deborah, happy Monday to
Hey,
everybody.
Deborah.
Thank you for dropping comments here. Customer knows best.
Yep.
And she
Yep.
says, Damon, that's a great story. So, again, guys, we're here with Jenifer, and she's with Adobe Commerce, and we're going to take a deep dive. So, man, go back and hit the rewind button on a few things here. We're talking about listening to your customer,
Yes.
diving into e commerce, stop being the best kept secret, and, putting yourself out on whether, going where your customers are hanging out at.
Yeah.
Jenifer shared how she was on Pinterest. She's talking about how she went on to TikTok. And I think this is absolutely brilliant. And Jenifer, what I love is that not only, during the day you play this e-commerce, specialist solution provider, and then at night, as you said, from your 5 to 9, you are an e-commerce entrepreneur at heart. So you're playing both sides and you understand what your customers are going through. So let's go here. You are with Adobe Commerce, and a lot of folks might be familiar with Adobe, and maybe they're like, gee, I didn't know there was an e-commerce solution at Adobe, or maybe they're still thinking of Magento. Please share with folks how does Adobe make the world a better place, and just share a little bit about Adobe Commerce, please.
Sure. And I apologize. I needed to. I got a little emotional over all the e-commerce out here, so I just need to clear out my throat
There you go.
there. Okay, so let's roll it back to what Adobe is and what Adobe stands for. So
Yep.
the way I explain Adobe to my friends is that most people know Adobe by like Photoshop, by let's say like the Illustrator or some of the video creative tools at like Premiere Pro or After Effects. But what most people don't know is that Adobe actually has 3 lines of business. So the first is Creative Cloud that everyone knows and loves.
Mm-hmm.
So that houses all of your Photoshop, Illustrator, Substance, 3D, everything creative. The second line of business is Document Cloud. And that houses Adobe Acrobat, Adobe PDF Reader, and Adobe Sign. And fun fact, which I actually found out not too long ago, is that Adobe invented the PDF. That is an Adobe creation, and
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know that was where they first started. But yes, lo and behold, Adobe PDF is Adobe invented the PDF, and that's the second line of business. The third line of business is Digital Experience Cloud, and that is where Adobe Commerce sits. It is all of our digital experience marketing automation software. And so you can think of in the same way that like the Creative Cloud or Document Cloud has multiple different products that service a different area for creatives or for documents. For digital experience, each product, for example, like Adobe Analytics, Adobe Experience Manager, Adobe Target, Adobe Experience Platform, Adobe Commerce, that is part of the entire marketing stack, and it covers everything from website traffic management and analytics to being able to host a website to creating content and managing even transactions on your website through Adobe Commerce. So that is kind of the entirety of Adobe with my best um, recapitulation of what Adobe does. But what Adobe really stands for is that, Adobe at its heart is a creative technology company. And in that, Adobe is continually pushing the edge, is continually pushing the envelope for innovation and creativity, empowering creators across every segment, across every industry. So if you think about, just how much Adobe has impacted the world, I believe 95 or 98% of all digital screens that you'll ever see has been touched by an Adobe product at some point in its life cycle. And so just thinking about that, like everything digital that you see from UI, UX to advertisements to campaigns to even website traffic, SEO, or whatever it might be, Adobe has somehow percolated into its life cycle. So Adobe Commerce, as one part of this larger engine, I like to think of it as, just being a part of this whole creative technology empowerment, and being able to empower merchants, retailers to sell their products, not just as a transaction, but really to connect with their customers, to really understand and create something that really resonates because they're part of this overall mission to empower and create designs that really resonate with their audiences. So I think that's why Adobe as a company, I really stand by, but also with its products, I think every product uh, is part of this overall greater mission that Adobe has continually lived by for 42 plus years.
Okay,
Yeah.
man, A couple drop the mic moments right there, and just
Yep.
overall, and just what I absolutely love, Jenifer, is just how the passion that you're sharing the story about your company. It was very similar to the way you described your uncle, the way you described your business, and just how inspiring is that? I'm going to go a little bit off script, and you're talking about, the superpower at Adobe is empowering creators and that emotional connection that as a company that they do with their customers. Would you say 95 to 90% of all users? Is that what was that number again? 95 to 98%?
Yeah, it's like I can't remember. You could see it. It's like on Adobe Fast Facts. Like
Yeah,
it's on one of the website on one of the home pages. But it's like every digital screen, like what you're seeing right now on your computer,
yeah,
something on your screen, like I think
yeah,
98% of the time has been
yeah.
touched by an
By
Adobe
Adobe.
product.
How, man, is that a statement right there? And so I'm going to go here. I'm going to go a little bit off script. Damon, we love talking about culture. Jenifer, could you share what is it about the culture at Adobe that just makes it so, like, your passion is just like, I'm ready to run through a wall right now. Like, you're just so getting everybody's getting fired up in the chat box. Guys, drop us a note. We're here with Jenifer. If you have any questions, thoughts, comments, let us know that you're out there. We've got Jenifer from Adobe Commerce. Jenifer, what is it about the Adobe culture from your perspective that just makes it just so fun, so addicting that you're here passionately sharing how you guys are making the world a better place?
Oh man, if when you originally said, "Oh, Jen, we have like usually these go 3 to 4 hours, but we'll just keep it down to one."
Yeah,
I could take that 3 hour right now.
go for
I
it,
could
man. We'll
take
clear,
it. No,
Damon, clear your schedule. We're
uh,
going to hang out with
there's
Jenifer in the next
just
3 hours.
yeah, let's just you could watch this in 2x speed as a
That's
recording,
right.
everybody. Anyways,
There you go.
point being, point being, I think Adobe's culture is really um it's really underpinned by one word, and I think it's just authenticity.
Mm,
Just authenticity through and through. People like the the people. I mean, I think everyone says it's such a hackneyed, cliched
right.
like phrase, like "oh, the people," but I think it's not just the people; it's the product, it's the philosophy, it's the process. Everything that we do is so transparent, and I love how as part of the Adobe's four virtues. I think it's like innovative, involved,
Mhm,
exceptional, and the last one is genuine.
mhm,
And I truly believe that that authenticity, being genuine, just really percolates through every facet of the Adobe experience, not just working with people, but the product itself, but the process, everything about, I don't know, like working with people here is just incredible because I'll just uh, going to work every day and listening to and I sit with different teams. I'm actually a remote worker, but I go
yeah,
into the office just to
yeah,
see just to
yeah,
have that human connection.
yep.
And hearing other people at Adobe feel so passionate about their product and the work that they do, hearing about, my friend who's a machine learning database infrastructure engineer, who's just like so passionate about like what this is going to do for the generative AI capabilities at Adobe. And then, another team that's working on like Adobe stock and images and being able to, they're now rolling out, which I don't even know if I'm allowed to announce this, but there's like a
Yeah,
cool, like all these like cool stuff, these like really cool things that are happening, um, that everyone is just so excited to work on, to be a part of. And I do think that Adobe is just really at the fore of this innovation, and people are just very genuinely excited to be here. So that's just that's just the I don't know how to explain it other than that. It's just people
That's
are
cool.
genuine. No one's trying to I don't think that, BSing is part of our culture,
yeah.
and that's just the way it is. That's the secret sauce.
There you
You
go.
know, Man, there's just so much love to unpack right there. Like Warren Buffett is, such what an advocate about, doing things with integrity and just doing things, and when you think of Adobe, like you said, and I'm not a graphic guy, but even, I use Adobe, everybody here's use a
Yeah.
PDF, and you have such a positive relationship with Adobe. It's typically it's something on a positive side of things that, whether you're getting an image, you're putting out a graph, you're putting out something for a customer, hey, share that PDF, share that information, share that image. And then, we're here to do a deep dive on e-commerce. I'm going off script again. You use the word innovation. What do you think? You're talking about the people, right? And it's and how about a tagline? We're just happy to be here, right? Maybe that's Adobe's new war cry. We're just happy to be here. What do you think it is that drives that innovation at Adobe? Why do you think you guys are always, some companies come and go, right? You think of Kodak, Blockbuster, some companies that have been around for a long time. They, BlackBerry, they get so caught into their technology that they lose sight of the customer. You guys do a great job of listening to the customer. What do you think it is that helps you guys stay so innovative?
What is it that about? I think it is like I think it's that we really do try to listen to the customer. I know actually quite a number of individuals that work with research groups that actually get direct feedback from customers in these like very formal settings. I'd also say that that's such a good question. I
So
think
let's,
it's that the essence of this is like maybe it's too
yeah, yeah,
early to get into the philosophy at this moment,
well,
but I just think the essence of humanity is creation,
yeah,
and there's just this insatiable quality and curiosity that I think working o- building a company or working at a company that whose mission is about adding to the creative economy,
yeah.
but I think it just naturally creates uh, more curiosity for what more could we create and how can we create things even better, and for humanity. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think that's just something innate. I like to believe humans are inherently good, which is also why I like to connect back to the person I'd like to ask, Anakin Skywalker, how he became who he is.
that's right. And so, Damon, I don't know if this conversation brings you back. So we had a conversation, Jenifer, with a wonderful guest, and he introduced a concept. He's spent a career studying not only just companies that have thrived, but societies that have thrived. Okay, on
Mm-hmm.
really difficult, challenging circumstances. And he had one word. And I feel, Damon, this is totally relevant. I'm dying to hear what you and Jenifer. I hope I'm not stumping you because I know like we're doing I didn't intend on going here, but we're doing a deep dive. I just love where we're going. But he used the word saga. The societies he was comparing like the Vikings would put
Yeah.
out like, hey, we're going to go on a ship. I don't know if anybody's going to survive. We don't know if we're going to have enough food. We don't know where we're going to go, but the boat was packed with a bunch of people that were going to go on this venture. And then he was talking about different companies and different clients that he works with, and he calls it the cause, the saga. And I feel like what you're describing, and again, my interactions with your team at Adobe, and just it's like there's a cause, and you're talking about things like the creative economy, that emotional connection,
Mm-hmm.
being genuine, being the authenticity. Do you kind of feel that sense of like fighting for a cause, or just like Adobe has like the humanity, a greater purpose? Like, do you feel that at all?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and I think that's what keeps us. I think that's what makes. Hmm, I mean, to I don't even know if this is like answering your question, but
Yeah,
I started off with a cohort like 4 years ago at Adobe with 9 people. And, I feel like especially in today's age, company hopping is so prevalent. Not that there's anything wrong.
right.
In fact, I thought at some point, I would eventually look to other companies by like the second or third year. But
Yeah.
all 9 people who I started off with in 2020 are still at Adobe.
Still there.
Wow, that's
Still at
crazy.
Adobe.
That's cool.
So
Isn't that
Cool.
that is awesome. Hey, let's grab a couple comments here. We
Yeah,
got
let's do.
Timothy's coming across a pond from
Yeah.
Amsterdam. So
Hey,
Timothy,
Tim.
happy Monday, my friend. He says,
Good to see you.
wow, well said. I run a boutique software company where we build SaaS technology to better human lives. I so resonate with what you just said. Hey, let's go
Nice.
back to a friend here. He has a question. What values and benefits does it provide for me? So maybe we've been answering that as we've been
Yep.
kind of going along. Let's get all right. If there's anything else, I went on a little culture tie. That was just so
Yeah.
good, Jenifer. Thank
That was
you. Thank you
awesome.
for sharing that. Let's dive into so manufacturing e-commerce success. There, I couldn't think of a better person to have on the show than you. And so let's dive in for manufacturers that are out there. Maybe they're contract manufacturer, custom manufacturer. They're like, hey, we feel a little bit behind the curve here. We need to get into e-commerce. Can you take us through any bit of like a e-commerce 101, or what are some things that those manufacturers should be thinking about to really resonate for e-commerce success?
yeah, I mean it again, so many great questions. I would say, think about future proofing. Think about, it's easy to think about what's immediately going to resolve your current needs.
Yeah,
But like like those who are long-term oriented or looking for long-term gratification rather than short-term, if you are thinking about the long term,
yeah,
make those right investments. And so it might be that, currently, and it's also the concept about like quality over, I don't know if it's like quantity. So in terms of like, I mean, and thinking about this business specifically, but like um, uh, talking about Adobe Commerce,
mhm,
thinking about price points and thinking about like different technology stacks. It's easy to go with a cheaper alternative,
yeah, yeah,
or kind of like a winter coat. I like to think like, okay, if you are buying at, let's say, an H&M or Forever 21, and looking for like a seasonal coat that is like
right,
on trend, it'll like serve you well for maybe like 1 or 2 seasons, but like the buttons start to fray, the seams start to kind of unravel. But if I were to invest in like a Helly Hansen coat or like a North Face, or
mhm,
I'm just thinking like other
yeah,
other brands off the top of my head, you know, uh, maybe like coats that are a bit more expensive, but that are durable, that are going to extend, that are going to serve you, that are going to be a classic piece for perhaps the rest of your life. It's about how can you be forward or like future oriented. So how can you adjust to um, the dynamic landscape of, and this might be like in the winter terrain, but in the same way of like the digital landscape, how do you adjust to the dynamism of the digital landscape, future proof for sustained growth? And you might think, oh, it's easy to pick the low hanging fruit at the time, but if you're short term oriented, that can really impair development and consumer activity. So just think about future proofing as like underpinning for strong long term growth overall, and
Hmm.
make those right investments, and think about what it could be to what it is for your business to stay ahead of the curve, and preserve and gain market share.
Well, I love that. Thank you, Jennifer. Great. And hey, Damon, Deborah says, hey, what about Damon? We haven't heard from Damon. So Damon, let's get you on. Let's get you in the game, my friend. What are your thoughts here?
Well, when you look at Adobe Commerce, we're talking about e-commerce today and manufacturing e-commerce success. What are some of the things that you really see Adobe Commerce solving for e-commerce retailers or B2B, B2C that is really cool, that you're going, man, it is awesome when we see these things working.
Yeah, I would say pers- mm, there's quite a bit, but when you said, Damon, like B2B, B2C, that hybrid capacity, Adobe really allows different brands to create commerce experiences in a standardized fashion, but also at scale. in an unrivaled capacity. So just the way that you can push out different storefronts and store views, all within one streamlined admin panel is like fantastic. One, but
Mm-hmm.
the best bet with why Adobe is just all the investments that are made to make a personalized commerce experience from end to end. And I don't mean just about like the way content is surfaced, but even the way data is streamlined and orchestrated into the back end and further augments AI and machine learning capabilities with Adobe Sensei, and the fact that we have a whole creative cloud to be able to leverage, with digitally native brands. It's just so important to think about the whole life cycle of how do we personalize each touch point one to one. And I was talking with a merchant actually last week at Palm Springs, and they're talking about other competitive platforms and why they were so excited about Adobe, and they just quite frankly said, Adobe is like pretty straightforward. I like that, I can actually visually see how my experience is personalized. I might get one seasonal campaign if I'm within this like one customer segment, based on past purchase history or affinity, and understanding propensity to buy. Just so much that I can go deeper into with like personalization, with data sharing capability,
Yeah,
and just really understanding the customer one to one. So yeah, I'd say that is the why Adobe story.
very
Wow.
cool. The other thing is, we all hear AI, 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 AI. Everything. I don't care what you're doing. And so, what do you really think in the practical application in e-commerce are some of the key things that you're seeing rolled out where AI is really helping these businesses do a better job in this personalization?
Yeah, I would say there's several components. So there's like I'd say AI has gone through, I don't even know how many generations. Maybe we're at
Yeah,
like the
yeah.
fourth or fifth wave of AI, like generative AI. And um and prior there's like the AI that's based on data models that's understanding like
Mm-hmm.
consumer affinity. But now we're able to create content that's never been created before. So I'd say it's one, with specifically Adobe and understanding customer and data, it would be like enabling a better ability to discover products. So how are products
Oh,
listed on a site? So that might be like in the search bar. You might based on previous search queries, or what people are trying to look for. Maybe they're excited about like certain types of coffee grounds. I'm just thinking about coffee because
yeah.
I am such a coffee fiend, and my coffee's staring at me on the left hand side. But they might be like searching for coffee grind for dark roast espresso coffee. But maybe there's like a different shopper who we know in a previous session loves decaf coffee because maybe they're trying to wean off. So in the
Mhm.
discoverability, we might intelligently categorize them as like a decaf coffee lover, and can actually surface those products at the top of the search query. Also, two, be able to individually cater the category page so that we can actually score based on propensity to buy, based on like ROI, based on different uh, algorithmic models, can actually rank different products based on and sort them based on higher conversion rate, etc. So that's discovery of products, one is, and two would be like um, even like cross-sell, upsell opportunities, just being able
Yeah.
to again like utilize those models to recommend better products based on visual similarity, or even in previous browsing sessions or purchase history. And
Hmm.
then three would just be to actually create. I know that outside of Adobe Commerce, there's so many practical applications of AI and data that are being currently capitalized with Adobe Analytics products. So actually being able to create different or even anticipate different customer segments based on historical data. So it actually will create, like automatically generate, like, oh, here's a demographic that we think that you could cater towards. And
Wow.
it would then surface like different buckets of
Yeah.
people, of consumers, and will give you like suggestions in that way. So that's just one area.
Oh.
Other things could be like campaign timeline optimization, based on like certain historical peaks or anomalies. Maybe based on like that data will assess like, oh, like, based on these analytics, with augmented AI capabilities, it will actually generate like kind of timelines of
Hmm.
different times that you should publish your campaigns, and different geographies as well. So just like really diving deep into data. And
Yeah.
then, so that's like, so discoverability. Two is like data analytics and audience assessment. And then third, it would be like um, product description generation.
Yeah.
So like
Right.
just being able to build your site faster. It's like everything from, sorry, so everything from product description to product images to
Yeah.
campaigns. Adobe Firefly, for example, I believe there will be like some capacity to enable assets, or manage assets better from the Creative Cloud, Adobe Firefly
Hmm.
into our digital experience products. Nonetheless, with being able to create and generate different assets in a very rapidized, expedient way, marketers and e-commerce directors, CMOs will be able
Hmm.
to pretty much pop out a shop much faster, probably in, I don't know the exact metrics, but cut down the time to market significantly with just all the content, supply chain capabilities that's being enhanced by AI. So I'd say there's
That's
multiple
incredible.
prongs to it, multiple prongs to where AI is really helping with Adobe Commerce, and being able to push out products and really understand the customer, and then utilizing that feedback. Um, and it could be event driven, etc. But point being, Adobe's doing a lot with AI.
Well, and you just gave us like a master class in AI and e-commerce in like 7 minutes or 6 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever the heck that was, because
Right.
I was writing notes as fast as I could. And you're this is what we can't even comprehend yet. It's cool that you're working with this stuff and understand this stuff, because we're just trying to learn about it well enough to be dangerous, right?
Right. Right.
And it's so great to see that companies like Adobe are really pushing this, because it is going to be able to help us do things that we never could before, faster, better. And just like you said, just so many different things. That's cool as heck. We got
Yeah.
a question though from Miguel. Let's
Yeah,
get that question.
I'm gonna grab that. So, all
Then we
right,
got to
so
start winding down
we got
too.
to
So
start. I know, like,
we need to
so
have you back,
we
Jenifer.
we could just keep it for those 3 hours. So, guys, again, if you're joining us, connect with Jenifer. If you have any questions on Adobe, drop her a note.
Awesome.
Reach out to the amazing folks, amazing team. Timothy says, "I love capital LOVE." Timothy, thank you very much. I love Adobe, one of the few pieces of software that I've been using for over 20 years. Timothy, you don't even look old enough for 20 years to be using that. But Miguel, happy Monday to Miguel. He says, "Hi, is this just an enterprise solution? How does the solution fit for SME ecosystem? For a lot of startup fashion brands, is this a good solution?" My friend Jenifer, what do you have to say for our friend Miguel?
Yeah, Miguel, it sounds like you and my team need to talk. I'll say that. I would say traditionally our digital experience cloud is mainly for like B2B, so enterprise brands.
Mm-hmm.
It's traditionally not used by like individuals, like the two clouds I mentioned, like Creative Cloud and Document Cloud. Those can be used by consumers on the day to day. But on Miguel's point about whether the solution fits for SMEs, there's a slew of different solutions that Adobe can definitely ameliorate for your team. And I'm sure our teams would be happy to talk. So Miguel,
Awesome.
feel free to find me. My full name is Jenifer. Sorry, I see Mohammed asked this question. So Jenifer with one N and Hanki, Hanki.
Very good. Very good.
All right,
All right.
let's start winding down here, Jenifer.
Yeah.
I have so man, we could keep you all day.
Yes.
Tons of recap. So guys, what we encourage you to do, get back to the beginning, and we talked about her hero when she was growing up. We talked about who she loved to have dinner with. We talked about what brought you in e-commerce. She has a great e-commerce story herself. Real quick, Jenifer, if you could answer this one. For folks out there that are just starting e-commerce, maybe they've engaged with the agency first. Just give us a couple of quick questions. What are questions that a manufacturer should be asking an agency, an e-commerce agency, as they're selecting their e-commerce platform? Any advice there of questions that they should ask? Or just go right to Adobe, right? Just say,
I was gonna say, I was like, how to not be biased.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say like before it's all about like fit. And I think it's also about, you know, like understanding the work that they've done. So one, like whether what they produce, what they specialize in is something that also aligns with your vision for your e-commerce digital transformation. One, and just understanding the expectations at the outset so that you can align there. But two, really just getting to know like the agency, the team. I think it's just really important because this team will be likely there with you through and through, in the trenches, getting you to that point where you can really accelerate your growth. And to get to that point, you know, it will take a lot of time and diligence. And so if you feel like, you know, there might not be per se a vibe fit, that's just a thing to keep in mind. But also, yeah, asking the questions about like what they value and what you can expect from their services. So I'd say that's the most important thing.
Perfect. Okay, let's go here. And what I did, I dropped your LinkedIn into the chat. So that went to Facebook, that went to YouTube. Damon, I don't know if you have a second, if you want to drop that into LinkedIn. So guys, again, connect with Jenifer and connect with the amazing folks at Adobe. I have one last question for you. And I know if you're cutting out, I know we're almost at the bottom of the hour. If you're cutting out, how about we stand up and give a big roaring round of applause for our amazing, wonderful guests? But we do have one more question for you. Connect with Jenifer on LinkedIn, connect with our friends at Adobe, and please, you know, feel free to go back and hit the rewind button on this. This was, and Deborah says, great. Deborah, thank you. Happy Monday. We appreciate the comments. We appreciate everybody out there. Damon, I know we're at time, but I'd be remiss if I didn't ask her the question.
You have to.
I have to ask the question, right? Don't I?
Oh.
Don't I have to? Jenifer, now you mentioned mom and dad are huge Bruins fans, basketball in particular. Are you a baseball fan by any chance? Do you enjoy a baseball game here and there? Or?
Ooh, I do love. Actually, this is so this is so salient because I have a calendar invite that I rescheduled because of this call to talk about getting tickets for the SF Giants with another manager. So yes, I do love baseball, and it's sorry.
This is perfect, man. I caught a Damon. I watched a Barry Bonds walk-off home run one time in San Francisco Stadium. This is probably before your time, Jenifer, but back in the day, it actually went right out of the stadium into the, you know, guys are out on the boats grabbing the ball, right? So Jenifer, since you're a Giants fan, I have a question for you. This came from the audience. They sent it beforehand. So hypothetically, if you were at the Giants game and they were playing the dreaded Dodgers, okay, they're playing the Dodgers, not a fan favorite. If you're a Giants fan, they're playing the Dodgers. Ooh. It's the bottom of the ninth, tie score. There's somebody on second base and the Giants are up. The manager looks down the bench and says, "Hey, Jenifer, grab your helmet, grab your bat, get up there. Please hit in the winning run for us. We need this win desperately. Okay, you with me? You got it?
Mm-hmm.
Person on second base, 2 outs, tie score, bottom of the ninth. You grab your helmet, you grab your bat. Like, you've got to go and hit that winning run. You with me?
Mm-hmm.
As you're walking to the plate, what is your walk-up song?
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
I mean, I have so many. But okay, I gotta give me a second. I gotta okay, I don't know the name of the song, but maybe if I hum it, it's a Beyonce song. It just automatic, like when you said that, I was like, I can see it. It's like da 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 da. I'm like trying to find, okay, Beyonce song. Okay,
Yeah.
I think it's Crazy in
That's
Love.
awesome.
I think
That's
it's
Yeah.
Crazy
awesome.
in Love. I gotta find it. I gotta find it. But like the very beginning, like musical instrumental intro, that would be my walk.
Yeah.
To that
Very
Beyonce
good.
song.
Damon, do you have it?
I don't have it with me right
I
now.
think can you hear this? Let's see if I whoop, oh, wait, hang on. I went to YouTube.
I think
Can't hear it. Oh,
Can you hear it?
nope.
it's okay. Next session, I will
We'll
just do
get,
an acapella on this
there we
song,
go.
a whole
There we go.
performance.
Okay. So, all right, guys, let's great, crazy. As a matter of fact, I had it on YouTube, but for some reason it doesn't show up on here. So, all right, guys, thank you, Jenifer. We appreciate you. We applaud you. We just commend you. What an inspiring session. We want to give a shout out to your uncle in Tokyo. Lots of love to him. We want to send love to Mimi and just, and all your church family friends that are helping you crank out,
Yeah.
shipping out e-commerce orders on your jewelry. We want to give a big shout out to the incredible team. And hey, Chris is here today. Chris is put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. Thank you, Chris. Thank you.
I'll follow up.
Yeah.
Sure. It's in,
Awesome.
I got it in the chat
Well,
right now. So Chris Carson from Above the Phrase in the house from
oh,
Oregon.
hey.
And I had the honor and privilege of doing a big Adobe Commerce project with the team at Above the Phrase. So big advocates for Adobe, Jenifer. So connect with Chris. And so, all right, let's wind down. Damon, parting thoughts, words of wisdom from your perspective.
No, I just, you drop so much wisdom on AI. It's just got me going again on this, and it's just the different ways. I'm just excited to see what Adobe's going to be coming out with and what you guys are really doing. And, you have been a staple. Adobe's been a staple in business since hell when I was young, right? So it is cool. Yeah, I was yesterday. But you see that and what's happening now with Adobe Commerce and just the things you were dropping, exciting already, even more excited for what's coming.
That's right. Jenifer, last words of wisdom, parting thoughts for the crowd today.
I think what Damon had mentioned, like, oh, I'm excited to see like what Adobe's coming out with next. If you're that excited and want to know some of like the cool stuff that Adobe is coming out with for digital experience, stay tuned. March 25th through 28th is Adobe Summit, and some of the things that I know my friends have been diligently working on and can't actually speak to until then are actually going live. So think of that as like it's like the Tim Cook, Steve Jobs presentation stage where they can announce new product features. So stay tuned.
That'll be awesome.
All right.
Thank you.
Lots of awesomeness here all the way around. Jenifer, thank you. We appreciate you guys. Have an amazing, incredible week ahead. And just like we love to say, just go out today and just be someone's inspiration, man. Just like Jenifer was for us today. Another round of applause for Jenifer. And man, the world's just a better place when we're just out inspiring each other. So I'm going to end. Damon, we got another great guest on Friday. So we're going to be right back here. 12:32 Eastern, 9:32 Pacific with more juicy information for you guys. Have a great rest of your week. We'll see you Friday.